Shalom. I'd like to give all praises to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this word. I just got this article out of a publication called the LA Taco. Basically, it's going into the lost history of lynching amongst Latinos because there is a history of the northern tribes, going into slavery, under the conquistadors, the Spaniards, but it's not really, pushed like that. So throughout the schools and whatnot. So a lot of these northern tribes tend to look down, on Judah because of that, because lynching and slavery is heavily pushed here in America. And they have that, superiority complex, but I want to look down because they have somewhat of a culture still, but there is a history, and I came across this article. It's titled, California's lost history of lynching Latinos in LA more than 100 years ago. Because you did have Latinos out here in LA getting lynched, right along with Judah, and the native tribes as well. This was published December 21st, 2022. Not far from the Union Station in downtown Los Angeles, a crowded line of cars take turns crossing in front of the Metropolitan Detention Center. Many sit in their cars, oblivious that's Francisco Cota, a 15-year-old Latino accused of murdering a local shopkeeper, was dragged up the street, repeatedly stabbed, lynched above the intersection over 160 years ago in the heart of El Pueblo de Los Angeles. Yeah, kind of reminds you of the story of Emmett Till, little child, being killed. A few blocks away at Temple and North Spring Street, at least 8 more men were lynched from 1855 to 1863 in broad daylight among a large armed crowd. These lynchings took place where LA's first courthouse and jail used to stand, now replaced with City Hall, further down Temple in its intersection with Broadway. Cota was one of the 547 Latinos lynched in the United States, and of the 143 Latinos lynched in California from 1849 to 1928. Latinos, primarily Mexican nationals and Mexican Americans, are the largest group to be lynched in Los Angeles and throughout California, and the second largest group to be lynched in the nation. As conversations about lynchings in the United States have rightfully been widely focused on killings of African Americans in the South, California's history of lynching hundreds of people, including at least 41 Native Americans, 8 African Americans, 29 Chinese, and over 100 Mexican nationals and 6 Chileans, remains largely unknown. California was the site of 352 documented lynchings. I'm not going to read all of it, but it is a very interesting read, proof positive that, Judah and Ephraim, or Judah and Israel, were lynched together, were oppressed together. The first documented lynching of a Mexican person in Texas in 1849. In 1851, a Mexican woman named Josefa Segnova was lynched in Downeyville, California, after being accused of stabbing a white man who had been harassing her husband and herself. Her last words were, "I would do the same again if I were so provoked." She was hung off the Jersey Bridge overlooking the Yuba River, about 100 miles from Sacramento. She is currently the only known Mexican lynching victim out of hundreds in California that has a monument and plaque in her memory. So yeah, I mean, there's history out here with the northern tribes, but all that was prophecy, man. Uh, First scripture is at Jeremiah 15:50 and 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast and refused to let them go. Yeah, they held them fast, refused to let us go, man. And there's way more history, going down to, the Ephraimites, their captivities, the Brazilians down there in Brazil, Asher, and then and their oppression, their slavery. It's a whole history that's not taught, publicly in schools. You have to go out there and get books to really read about it. Some say the northern tribes, that their captivity was way harsher than the southern captivity. The women would get their breasts chopped off, and they would cut the babies out of the pregnant woman's belly and stomp on the fetus when it fell out. All these accounts in these books that they don't really teach you in school. So some say that the northern captivity was way harsher. You know, but yeah, the scriptures is true, man. The children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. We all went through this thing, man. But the Lord said, He's a redeemer. The redeemer is strong. You know, the Lord of hosts is His name, Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that He may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon, man. But our Redeemer, our Savior is strong, man. He's gonna, come get us, the elect, But this is next scripture is Isaiah, you know, 11:12. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Yeah, we're seeing that now. The truth is being pushed. And he's gathering, the outcasts, the elect, the ones, the dispersed, you know, from the four corners of the earth. He's gathering through this truth and this knowledge. And ultimately, when Yahweh Shah returns, he's going to gather them physically, The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim. Yeah, because there's a lot of hatred, amongst the tribes, specifically, northern and southern kingdom, man. But that time is coming to an end. The Lord is going to remove, that envy, that hatred. I remember when I first moved out to California, back in the early 2000s, man, that hatred was high. You saw it in the news, different riots within the school systems and whatnot. And, that hatred was real heavy. But now, 20 years later, the truth is being pushed. It's not as bad as it once was. But there's a reason for all this. That's part of that curses, man. Shall even have an evil eye towards his brother, lest the Most High remove the truth from us. This is Jeremiah 17:4. And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. So, we discontinued from our heritage. We lost who we were. So the northern kingdom started calling themselves Latinos. Southern kingdom, call themselves Negroes, Jamaicans, Haitians, and all that. We lost our heritage, and that curses, permeated, within the minds of us. But the Most High is going to remove all that. So it says, which will burn forever for a very long time. But there's going to come a time when the Most High is going to come back, you know. He's going to turn back the captivity and deliver his elect. And, you know, eventually all Israel will be saved, you know. Yeah, 2/3 of people are going to have to die on this side. They're not going to get it. 2/3 of these Latinos are going to have to die. 2/3 of the Negroes, so-called blacks, you know, so-called Negroes are going to have to die, you know. But eventually they'll be brought back in the kingdom, you know, and be raised up the right way. The last scripture is Hosea 6:1. Come and let us return unto the Lord. You know, that's what we say every week, week in, week out. You know, come return to the Lord. You know, like I said before, the 2/3 of people aren't going to hear it, though. They're not going to want to return, so they're going to have to deal with these missiles that are coming. But, you know, come and let us return to the Lord, for you have torn, and he will heal us. You have smitten, and he will bind us up. Yeah, and he's going to heal us, man. He's going to bind us up again. He's going to heal us from this. You know, we was torn. You know, we had to go to the enemy for the one of all things. We got lynched by our enemies, went into slavery under our enemies. But he's going to heal us from that, you know, through salvation and ultimately through the kingdom. And after 2 days, he will revive us. And on the third day, he will raise us up, and we shall live in his sight. And we're living in that third day right now, where he's going to raise us up. You know, we see it through the prophecies, man. We're real close. You know, since World War III, this microchip being pushed, Krogma. Then shall we know, if we follow on to know the Lord. His going forth is prepared as the morning, and he shall come unto us as the rain, as the latter and former rain unto the earth. O Ephraim, what shall I do unto thee? O Judah, what shall I do unto thee? For your goodness is as the morning cloud, and as the early deweth goeth away. Yeah, you know, we went off, man. We believe went off. Therefore have I hewed them by the prophets. I've slain them by the words of my mouth, and thy judgments are as the light that goeth forth. Yeah, you know, we're seeing that now. You know, the prophets, you know, are letting our people know who they are, how that they went off, and to get right, you know, and to give them warning from the Most High, man, bad times that are coming, man. For I desired mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of the Most High more than burnt offerings. But they, like men, have transgressed the covenant. There have they dealt treacherously against me. Yeah, you know, they transgressed the law, you know, and that's why we got caught up in these lynchings, and that's ultimately why we went to slavery, and we lost our heritage. You know, it's punishment. But our punishment is almost up, man. Gilead is a city of them that work iniquity, and is polluted with blood, and as troops of robbers wait for a man. So the company of priests murder in the way by consent, for they commit lewdness. I have seen a horrible thing in the house of Israel. There is whoredom of Ephraim. Israel is defiled. You know, that whoredom, you know, worshiping of other gods, you know, just going off on the law, you know. We're defiled right now, but the Lord's gonna, you know, cleanse 2/3 of his people through these missiles, man. The ones that don't want to get right, the ones that don't want to return, you know, the ones that don't want to repent. Also, Judah, he has set harvest for thee when I returned the captivity of my people. That's what it's all about, man. Returning the captivity and going back to our land, becoming a nation again. But yeah, I just wanted to, you know, bring out this cool little article written by Victoria Valenzuela, you know, because there was a history of, you know, Latinos getting lynched as well, man. We read, you know, children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together. That oppression is almost up, man. With that, you know, shalom.